Uh, oh my gosh, bro.
It's
No,
gonna be an
okay.
editing mess.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Listen. We're going back in. 3, 2, 1. I'll take it.
You have
Do you want to do it or should I?
yeah, I believe in you. You got it. I think we should both be.
Welcome, friends and family, to the Broken Yoke podcast. I'm your not host, but your co-host, Sam Phillips, and this is
I'm not the host, but also the co-host, Dylan Pearson.
great.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So, I mean, we'd like to begin by talking about, like, the origins of our friendship, the origins of the podcast, how we kind of, conceived this idea, so to say. So, do you want to start off introducing, kind of who you are, and then how, we kind of met and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. So I was a kind of like to start it off all the way back. I deferred a year, so I actually was a part of the 2020 graduating class, and then I decided and committed to Belmont and everything, and then deferred because of the pandemic. And so the fact that Sam and I met was kind of not a miracle, but just kind
It's a
of like
fate thing.
It's a fate thing. Yeah, it was just a
thing for
fate
sure.
because I wouldn't have been in his class otherwise. And then beyond that, I came from Spokane. My last name is Pearson. And I was just put in this first year seminar because it fit my schedule. And I'm almost certain our TT group, so at Belmont University, I should explain this a little bit. We have for welcome week, not summer orientation, we have these things called TT groups, which are Towering Traditions. And it's basically just a group of people in your first year freshman seminar class, which is a requirement to take, that you get to know and come close to because Belmont wants you to be able to have a community before
Yeah.
you even open on the first day of classes.
We
And
got very lucky.
we got very lucky, so that we were placed in the same TT group. It was literally all these things together. So yeah, I'm Dylan Pearson. I'm a musical theater major. It's crazy we're here.
It is crazy, and yeah, now that you say that, I am realizing how much of like it was like kind of like fate and kind of like God like bringing it
100%.
to fruition. Because we got, like Dylan said, we got really lucky with our TT group. It was just an awesome group of people who we're all like extremely close with now, and a lot of people like my roommate did not get that lucky with their TT group. So I feel for him and for those people, but yeah. And so yeah, like I remember instantly I feel like we just got along. Like you're such like a personable person.
Oh, I appreciate
And
that.
so I remember just like meeting like Josie, our TT leader, and then the rest of the TT group, and then meeting you, and you just being like so genuine and so nice, and just like I definitely felt like you weren't like asking the same like, oh, what's your name, what's your major, and where you're from. Like you were just like asking actual questions about me, which was super, like it was like a breath of fresh air, because anybody who like is a freshman in college knows the first week is literally, and like not even just the first week, like the first month is filled with like people just asking, what's your name, where are you from, what year are you, what's your major, like how are you liking classes, just like a bunch of like redundant questions that get super old.
And I mean, it's like it's a good intro, but like I have, because I've felt myself. I appreciate you saying that, because I felt
Yeah.
myself 100% doing that, where I meet someone new and then I just introduce, and I feel bad because I wanna have a deeper connection with them, but
Yeah.
like I don't know. I also don't know how to walk up to someone and be like, so what was a difficult time in your life and how did you get through? Like I feel like that's kind of a
Right.
Like
I mean, you wouldn't do that to anybody.
Especially,
Yeah,
anyone who's like,
regardless of.
were you also depressed in middle school? And it's like, okay, well, maybe don't lead off with that.
Don't lead off with that.
No, yeah, I appreciate that. Just like you have such a vibrant energy and
Thank
such an
you.
excited like ability to be able to come forward and just introduce yourself to people. Sam is literally one of the most popular people on campus, because he goes up, he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm Sam. How's your day been? It's just, and he's very genuine, which to me is a breath of fresh air, because I think often people are bogged down by niceties, which is okay, and I get it. Like you're not gonna straight up tell someone like, no, I'm done with this conversation, and you would never do that. But in my opinion, the reason you'd never do that is because you aren't. You're genuinely curious and excited to meet people and talk to people and like that is something that yeah, I don't think a lot of people have. It's really fantastic.
I definitely came to Belmont with the goal of trying to be the most real I could be, because that just hasn't been the same in the past. Like, I've been tempted to just like kind of put on a front, kind of how society tells me how to act, and how I see my other friends or my other acquaintances who I deem as cool or hip. And so I try to act like them. And so I was like, that's not happening at Belmont. I'm just going to be the real me, because the reality is, like, when you are fake and when you are projecting an image of yourself that is not the real you, your friends are friends with that person. They're not friends with like the, actual authentic you. And so it can be draining to keep that up.
100%. Yeah.
And so I really feel for those people who are trying to keep it up, because, I just want to tell them, like, you don't have to. Like, you're literally good enough how you are. Like, you're so like special and unique as a person. And, you're going to the friends that you're meant to have are going to find you like that. So, yeah.
Sam, oh gosh. You're fantastic. That's just, I just love to hear that.
So,
you have a great mentality.
Podcast origins.
That
was the origin of our friendship.
So, I mean, it really started with a bunch of electric bikes.
I mean, he's not wrong.
So yeah, you pretty much, I forget who said it, but like,
hanging out.
Let's hang out. Let's go get coffee downtown.
Get coffee. Our friends kind of ditched us to go watch a writer's room.
Yeah. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Yeah. Okay.
Other members of our TT group we love dearly.
Yeah. Well, you love dearly. No, I'm kidding. I do love you guys. No, it's so we just like didn't get the tickets soon enough, and they sold out. So we were like, you know what? We're gonna hang out anyways and make them jealous.
Yes.
It's
quite an adventure.
It was quite an adventure. So we got a bunch of electric bikes.
Yeah.
Rode downtown and
and by a bunch, Dylan means two.
I mean, two. Yeah. We stole all the electric bikes available in Nashville. Went down to good old Kilbrew Coffee. Downtown Nashville. I don't know any other way. It's good coffee. It's fun.
It's good coffee. You got what? Like a big breakfast bagel or like sandwich, and then
so good.
A cinnamon roll, which you were going to share with me, but then we found out it had cream cheese, which I will not do.
Which is great. Okay, side tangent. Why don't you like cream cheese frosting?
I just don't like it. Like, I don't know. The association of cheese and dessert together has always just like, cheesecake, like I just can't do it. And like I can't do a lot of like different like toppings, like whipped toppings, like different.
Really?
Like I'm not a fan of condiments. Like you already know this.
I understand.
You already know this. Yeah. I don't like when I eat a bowl of salad, which you see me doing all the time. Like I literally, that's all I eat here at Belmont. But I like to say it like I keep it virgin, because I don't like desecrate it with ranch dressing or French dressing.
I keep it virgin like myself. I won't put dressing on my salad till marriage.
No, I just won't do it ever.
I understand that. I like a lot of whipped toppings because I have a sweet tooth, but I don't like a lot of condiments, so I do understand that.
Yeah, it's like along the same lines of that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so anyways, we were down at Kilbrew Coffee, and we were just expecting to just hang out, get to know each other better, drink our coffee for Dylan, eat his like freaking feast that he got. And we just started talking, and we realized, we have like really good like spoken chemistry together. Like whenever we talk, and like whether it's talking about something philosophical, like how we discussed the allegory of the cave for our first year seminar class, which was amazing. Like you literally helped me understand it like so well, just because of how well spoken you are.
Well, I love that you like you always have a new angle for me, and that's exciting.
Well, our friends joke about Dylan. He's the person who has like the vocabulary that's like 10 times larger than everybody else's. And so it's just so fun to like talk to him. And I guess if you're going to view this podcast, you're going to continue to see that, because he'll just comes up with a word you've never heard before. And it's like, whoa, like it's super awesome.
I don't know, erudite.
You can sign up for this thing on your phone that like tells you like a big word every day, and it tells you what it means to help like expand your vocabulary.
I would get too bogged down. I would put it everywhere. I would put like when I learned so I learned what an AET major was recently.
Yeah, I was like, what? How do you not know what that is? I was like, oh, I'm thinking of switching to AET next semester, and Dylan like had like been pretending that he knew what it was. And hey, we both have AET roommates. How does that? How do you like it? What do you think?
Oh, it's awesome.
Are
it's
they
really
annoying?
Fun.
No.
I don't think so. I love it when because like I'll be in the restroom doing restroom things, and I'll just hear all of a sudden just an 808 kick and then some hi hats, and I'm like,
I feel that.
Smart.
Yeah. So basically, Kilbrew Coffee, we have the good talking chemistry, right? And we're like, bro, it would be so insane of an idea if we started a podcast together, because not only are we well spoken together, but we both love podcasts. Like, you know, what are I mean, you want to talk about some of your favorite podcasts?
Some of my favorite podcasts. I mean, if you want to start out with some podcasts, like Distractable is really fun. That is Mark. Oh God, I can't remember their names. Really
Mark
fun.
Zuckerberg?
No, it's not Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Twain? Mark, your roommate?
No.
Oh, hi, Mark. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Mark
hi.
Rober.
Oh, hi, Mark. No, it's I forget their names. It's Markiplier, the YouTuber, and a couple of other buddies, but he doesn't go by Markiplier, so that isn't. But it's pretty much, if I remember correctly, they bring stories. They come up with stories. So there's 3 of them, and one of them is the judge, and then 2 of them bring stories and about a certain topic or a theme that week, and then they have to, make the one guy laugh or be happy or whatever, and then they choose the other story, and then that person, whoever story gets picked as the best one, is the judge for the next week. That was a bad way of describing it.
No, that sounds really interesting.
It's fun. And
I actually have never heard of it.
One of my favorite ones is, oh God, who's the short lady off Great British Baking Show? Sandy something.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, she's short, cool hair, super funny. She has a podcast, and it is called We Will Get Past This. So I think she started it within the pandemic, within the terms of quarantine. And she goes throughout history, telling on, like, if it's May 29th, 1789, she'll describe what maybe a big event that happened that day, or she'll talk about maybe she talked about 2 of the most infamous women pirates.
For me, it's definitely like I call me basic if you want to, but I really love the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know. I know it's like the stereotypical podcast, like it's like the biggest podcast in the world.
But like it is for a reason. Like he's a great,
he's really good.
Orator. Like he's awesome at continuing.
Yeah, and did, like I know, he was like a commentator on WWE before the podcast, so I feel like he's just made for that, like the commentating on stuff, and just like what I love about him is that like he's such a good listener. So like he could literally have like the craziest person on, and trust me, like he's had crazy people on. Like it's insane how like some of these people are like absolute nut jobs, like to put it most nicely. And I love how he like gives them the time of day and he listens to them, and I really look up to that. Yeah, so that's one of my main ones.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so do you want to, I mean, since you're kind of the one who like came up with the idea first, do you want to talk about our vision behind this podcast? Maybe I could like go over the name really quick.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so we call this podcast the Broken Yolk Podcast. We want to view every conversation with the analogy of an egg and a yolk, right? So we want to view like all the hard conversations as a yolk, and we want to view it as like we're breaking that yolk and we're like spilling it all out and laying it all out there, being authentic, just like attacking every aspect and like pillar, so to speak, of the conversation. But then also we want to view ourselves as a yolk, and we want to lay ourselves out there and be as authentic as possible. Just like let everything come out, so to speak.
Yeah,
you know.
I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the symbolism, and I don't know. I was obsessed. Like when we were throwing around names, you heard me. I was throwing around like weird vegetables. Like I don't know. I like the aesthetic of like a vegetable podcast.
Yeah. 100%.
It's so like appetizing, so to speak. Like even if it didn't like the podcast, I would just listen to it because it's named like, the Crooked squash podcast. Like that's just like,
yeah, I get that.
Man.
That's one of my favorite podcasts of all time is called Dungeons and Daddies. It's you have to listen to it. It's awesome. I love them so much. I've now delved into their
Yeah.
like they have a Patreon I'm subscribed to. They have oh god, Story Break is another one where it's just a bunch of
Yeah.
those guys who are Hollywood writers and they're breaking random stories. Like they wrote a movie about Flo, the advertisement girl. So I do agree that like a good podcast
yeah.
name really, really does.
I just love the culture behind naming a podcast
Yeah.
because I love how nobody's like, oh, the Sam and Dylan podcast.
just oh,
That's so like who would listen to that? That sounds so lame. Like I feel like the name of the podcast is like what first like attaches people to it.
yeah, we gotta have.
I mean,
a
I guess
good
you do
gimmick
have the Joe Rogan podcast.
experience. Well, but like he was established. I feel like that's the different thing is like I don't know what Tim Dillon's podcast is called, but and I forget what Theo Von's. Clearly, we're so good with names. No, it was just I feel like once you're established and you have like a viewership and you have a base and everything like that, that's when you start to be able to kind of be able to name stuff after yourself.
That's true. That's true because he was like already established as like a WWE commentator. Like, he was already
Commentator.
like sort of a celebrity,
And
right?
I forget about his like comedic origins, his stand-up comedian.
Yeah, because he had
origins.
that too. He's like
Yeah.
really funny.
He's
Like,
very
he's so funny.
I really like his stuff. Yeah, my brother-in-law and sister really like his stuff. So I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like once you start to get more established and people understand who you are and like what you're about, then it's kind of like I'll go along with that. Like I'll follow you because it's a personal brand. Your own singular self is the brand, which is weird. That's a crazy concept to think
Yeah,
about.
it is weird. It's kind of unnerving and scary a little bit.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. Yeah, that I would agree with that. To be because it's like this single. Like the singularity of yourself to be boiled down into a brand, and then the fact that the product you're selling is presenting yourself and your personality.
Yeah.
And I guess by proxy, like a denial of that brand. If someone is like, "Nah, I really don't like the Joe Rogan experience," you're like, "Well, I don't really." And I mean, obviously, this is a huge simplification.
Mhm.
But if you're like, "Man, I really don't like the views that Joe Rogan, like the Joe Rogan podcast presents," then you're kind of saying like, "I don't really like the views that Joe Rogan presents," or or you're like, "I'm
and
just not."
like even beyond that, just like I don't know, it's just scary to have your name associated with something that is like billions of viewers or
Yeah.
like I don't know. Fame is just scary. That's a whole like another conversation
Yeah.
for another podcast. We're back again.
Audio sync, AET baby.
Hey, we're new to this. Give us a break.
Yeah.
This is our
Yeah.
literally first.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how. Yeah, I'm excited to see us progress because we're
Yeah.
still kind of finding our voice and how to figure this out. And if you are still listening, thank you. That is really cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully in like 30 episodes or so, you'll be able to say like, hey, like I watched your first one all the way through, and you'll be able to see the progression. That's what I like about watching new channels and new people, just like seeing the progression, especially
Yes.
like because it's so steep at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy.
Because I'm not used to this having a microphone in my face. I like at the beginning I was touching it constantly. I keep moving back so I know that affects the sound. Like
Don't assault the microphone, please.
don't sound. Oh.
You are almost 20, man. So we want this podcast to be, Dylan said family friendly earlier. I would just elaborate on that and say, we want this to add value to our viewers' lives in whatever way possible. And I think the family friendly aspect will follow. So, I don't think it's necessary for us to be, cussing or, talking about degrading topics because, I don't think that's going to add value. Right?
I agree.
It might be fun in the moment to talk about and just like, gossip is always fun and degrading other people like and talking negative, like it's easy to do. But I don't think we don't want that to be our brand. We don't want that. That's not what we're about as people. So why would we project that onto our podcast?
Yeah.
Because we're trying to be just ourselves.
I agree.
And so I think our main goal is to just be authentic and add value to people's lives. So we want to view it as just a nice, like Saturday morning conversation between Dylan and I, and then I mean later on next week, next episode, we'll start bringing guests on, and that's where the fun really begins.
That is where the fun really begins.
I'm so
pumped up
excited.
for it.
Like that's gonna be insane. Like
Yeah.
you're definitely like kudos to you if you're watching this, because compared to next week, this is so boring.
So boring.
Like
this sucks.
this is like
Comparative
if
to
you
what it would
really
be.
like just want to like find out what we're about. But
Yeah.
like literally, I don't expect anybody to watch this episode. So
So if you're here, hi mom.
yeah.
Hi dad.
Hi dad. Hi mom.
How are you
That's
guys?
like the only people.
Kay
on that.
Shay, if you're here, Reed, what's up? Rosie. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's a funny joke if they even watched this far.
Yeah, it's
my family,
probably
by
an
the way.
inside
Yeah.
joke. Yeah. And then so do you want to? Should we tell the funny story of after we came up with the podcast? So we're in
Yeah.
Kilbrew Coffee, right? We came up with the podcast. We're
Which-
leaving, right?
If you're familiar with downtown Nashville, is in the Gulch. So
In the
that
Gulch.
is it's kind of outside. It's near downtown, but it's not Broadway in
Right.
Nashville, which is like big party city.
It's very
bars,
close.
Everything.
You could like
It's-
walk to Broadway.
You could walk to Broadway,
but
from
it's
it.
not like super busy. So, anyways,
Yeah.
so we're in Kilbrew Coffee. We're leaving Kilbrew Coffee. We've come up with the idea. We're so pumped, and we mentioned the electric bikes. So the thing is, with our deal, we have to plug in the electric bikes every 60 minutes because, for one, they run out of charge. For two, they don't want us to just be like,
On them.
stealing them or
Yeah.
anything like that. So that's the deal. And so we go back to where we plugged in or parked our electric bikes, expecting to just be able to cash out with them again and ride all the way back to our dorms, right? Unfortunately, that is not the case. And I don't know what was happening. Maybe the Wi-Fi was down. I don't know. But the system at that checkpoint was not working at all. And we spent about I don't know, would you say 25 to 30 minutes trying
Literally.
to check out bikes there? And other people were trying to do it too, and they couldn't either. And we were they were asking us questions.
It was a
and we were
very
like,
sweet
"Bro,
middle-aged couple. Were like,
Yeah,
were you
they're-
able to get that working? And we were like,
Right. Yeah. I was trying to show them on their phone how they should be able to do it, but I felt bad because
we couldn't do it.
we couldn't do it either. And so we were like, okay, this is not obvious. This is obviously not working. Where's the nearest other checkpoint?
yeah.
And let me just add to this. The sun is hot. It's a hot day. It's full hot day. And I don't know why, but I'm in full jeans and a full
And a
sweatshirt.
full sweater.
And if you're my family, you know that's so on brand for me.
I mean, and it looked, number one, he looked great. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
was killing it.
we
It
were
was-
partially doing a photo shoot. We did a photo
little
shoot.
bit of, yeah, he looked great, but it was not sweater
It was
weather.
not ideal. It was not ideal.
No.
And please, Jesus, send us sweater weather soon because I'm
I can't
excited.
wait. Oh,
I have so
God.
many sweaters that I'm waiting to try out.
I love it.
Anyways,
I love it.
so we're we got to find a new checkpoint.
Yeah.
So we look on the little app and it tells us there's one or a little less than a mile away. And so we're like, okay, easy enough. We'll navigate to somewhere near that. And we do. And we go down the same street, back and forth, 5 times because Google Maps is trying to tell us to turn right and we don't see a street.
We don't see a street.
And we're on these
there's
scooters,
Yeah.
because we were like, oh, it's fine, we'll rent these scooters to try to get there.
the electric scooters,
Right.
Bird Lime, all those type of
Yeah,
things.
so we're trying to figure this out, and then we realize, oh, they want us to go up a set of stairs, and this is no ordinary set of stairs. This is the biggest set of stairs that you've ever seen.
It's about is it 2? It was maybe 2 or 3 flights. It was
But
onto the
they were big.
overpass.
They were big flights, and it was for a parking garage or whatever. So we had to climb the entire height of the parking garage, and so, I mean, we still had a ways to go after that. So we of course carried the scooters, these electric scooters, these big scooters up the staircase. I made you. You were like, Sam, I don't think I'm gonna do it.
I
And
don't
like,
think I'm
Dylan,
gonna
you're
do it.
doing
Like,
it.
you're doing it. I'm
You're
like,
doing it. I'm not
okay.
walking after this.
Okay.
We literally I think we got downtown at 10 or 10:30 a.m.
Yep.
and it was 3
3
at this
by the
point.
time we got back.
And it was so bad.
And the whole time we were we need, because we were at Kilbrew and we were like, okay, we should probably we have stuff to do.
we have stuff to
we need
do.
get-
I'm
we
hanging
need
out
to
with
get
other
back. We'll be
people.
back in about
I'm trying to
3
film a cover or
o'clock.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, we get to the top of the stairs and we're like, oh, this makes much more sense. And I mean, we figured out it was because I had the pedestrian selected on my Google Maps.
Oh, really? I
So
didn't
if
know
we
that.
had selected car, then it wouldn't have led us up a staircase because obviously who's going to drive their car up a staircase?
You're right. I remember that.
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
so we got to
You're
the
right.
bikes finally. It's 3 at this point. We head home. yeah, but it was a very memorable experience.
It was
and
very-
I mean, it was worth it because we got a podcast idea out of it. So
Yeah. So being
yeah,
stuck downtown,
you know,
coming
stuck
back,
downtown podcast. I don't know.
I don't know.
Podcast is better.
Yeah. Yes. Very
Yeah,
much so. Yeah.
we arrived at Belmont safely. I don't know. We just wanted to tell that story because it's kind of funny, and
Yeah. It's a
it
fun.
involves like the conception
the conception of our podcast.
of the podcast.
Wow, you
Yeah, so-
guys.
To all of you from Dylan and I, have a great rest of
Lovely.
your week.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, love you
Much love.
so much.
Toodaloo.
Bye.